and welcome along to the final video in our How to Start a Profitable Podcast course. This bonus module is all about microphone techniques, and we're going to cover 15 different techniques that you can use to create a professional sounding podcast. Number 15, distance. When you're recording your podcast, it's important not to get too close to your microphone, as this can make your voice bassy. But if you move too far away from the microphone, you'll sound like you're stuck in a well. A good rule of thumb is to keep the microphone about 5 to 6 inches away from your mouth, which is roughly about a hand span. So let's give that a try now. Take your hand, spread it as wide as you can, and place it in front of the microphone like this. This distance is perfect for spoken word, and it means you're not going to be too far away or up too close, which can cause distortion. Number 14, speak directly into your microphone. When you record your podcast, it's important to speak directly into your mic so that all of the audio is captured to the best ability. If you don't do this and you're sideways on, for example, the audio you capture will be noticeably duller. Get front and center when you're speaking into your mic so it picks up your voice clearly. Number 13, use a pop filter. Most microphones have a foam padding, which is a spongy attachment that can be added on. They stop pops from words that begin with P or T that can sometimes sound harsh on the ears. So to get real peace of mind, make sure you use a pop filter, and that will add an extra barrier to your microphone. And it will also stop you getting too close to the microphone so you don't always have to think about your distance. So our next tip is to use a pop shield or a microphone muffler like we are here. The good thing about using a pop shield or a muffler is that when you say words that begin with P or B, it removes that popping sound that you can sometimes get. And the other point that I would make is that if you use a pop shield instead of a muffler, then it does actually set that distance for you, so you don't necessarily need to think about how far you are away from the microphone every time you're recording. Number 12, no reflective surfaces. Hard reflective surfaces like tabletops, mirrors and windows can affect your mic's sound quality. Audio can be picked up multiple times from these types of surfaces. For example, if you're talking next to a window, your voice will go directly into the mic whilst also being reflected and captured from the window. Try and avoid any flat top surfaces where possible, or use foam padding designed to stop audio bouncing. Number 11, aim your microphone. If your mic is either too high or too low, then it can cause a popping sound, which is commonly known as plosive consonants. So again, that's things like your P's and your T's. Try and think of your microphone capture range as a cone. You need to be dead center to get the best possible sound, so position your mic at mouth level. Number 10, don't blow into your microphone. Microphones are designed to respond to sound waves, not wind. So blowing into it, or even just tapping on its head, can damage the diaphragm inside. Test your mic by speaking into it or clapping to gauge the sound levels. Number 9, when not in use, turn it off. Now, this is obviously a simple trick, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Your microphone is hard at work capturing audio when it's switched on, but if you leave it switched on when it's not in use, then you could be doing damage to the microphone. Over time, microphones deteriorate and distort the diaphragm. So when not in use, turn it off to prolong its shelf life. Number 8, not too loud. Microphones are designed to capture audio between relatively normal volume levels. So think things like spoken word. Anything greater than their capabilities can do them harm, just like human eardrums. So avoid extremely loud noises wherever possible. Number 7, label your microphone. Out of the box, microphones need setting up to capture audio correctly. Some of them have dials on or switches that you can adjust to get that ideal level. Once you've found your right settings, add a little note with the specifications for quick referencing later. This saves time and really speeds things up if you've not used the microphone in a while. Number 6, 2 mics are better than 1. In most cases, 1 microphone will do the job, especially if you're just recording by yourself. But if you have a guest or an instrument, or you just want a backup, then you'll need a second mic. Position 1 microphone close to you as your primary source, and the second microphone as your fallback aimed at your guest or instrument if needed. Number 5, upright or upside down. Microphones often tend to be positioned in two ways: upright with the head at the top and upside down with the head at the bottom. There's no real correct way to do this, but generally amongst podcasters, fixing your mic upside down is the most preferred option. By positioning your microphone upside down, your XLR cable is going to be out of your way and you're not going to run the risk of hitting it whilst you're talking. Another benefit to positioning your microphone upside down is that the diaphragm will be kept cool, especially if you're recording for long periods of time. Number 4, cables. More often than not, if you're having a problem with your audio, it will be related to the cable that you're using, not your microphone. So it's important to use industry standard XLR cables that have the right balance of length, cores and shielding. If you're wondering which cables to get, then we recommend checking out Mogami, Lynx Pro and Stag. Number 3, condenser or dynamic. As a rule of thumb, if you're recording spoken word audio, it's best to use a condenser microphone, as this captures close audio very clearly. However, it does fall short if you're recording noises from far away, let's say instruments at a music gig. In this instance, a dynamic microphone is much better to use. This is because dynamic mics pick up much less bleed and ambient sound, so it can really focus on far away noises. So we're actually using a condenser mic at the moment. It's the Neumann TLM 103. It's a rock solid mic, so it's worth checking out for your podcast, and it's widely used by professional broadcasters and podcasters. Number 2, color coordinate. It can get confusing when you have lots of wires and equipment in your recording area. So make sure you color coordinate the things you use often so it's easier to manage. Get different colored cables for each piece of equipment you have and mark off which is which. And to keep your cables organized, we recommend using cable ties. Number 1, microphone processor. Microphone processors are a way to enhance your voice to give it a grander feel. It provides more clarity, so it's easier to hear what you're saying and adds an overall warm presence to your voice. It also has a crisper feel to it, and it's really easy to just adjust your controls to custom fit the area that you're recording in. We also recommend using a microphone processor. The one we're using is a DBX 286S. It's a fantastic bit of kit as it reduces background noise whilst enhancing your voice, so it really is worth checking out. So let's summarize what we've covered. Firstly, distance and direction make all the difference when it comes to recording audio. So make sure you're speaking clearly and directly into your microphone and you're a handspan away from it. Microphones are delicate pieces of equipment that need to be taken care of. So be careful when you're using it and switch it off when it's not in use to avoid damaging the diaphragm. Having a messy setup can be chaotic and slow down recordings, so organize your equipment with labels and color coordinate your cables. Make sure you choose the right type of microphone for the job. We can't stress this enough. As we mentioned, podcasters generally tend to use condenser mics as they're ideal for capturing spoken word. But if you're recording noises from far away, then go for a dynamic mic. And lastly, enhance your voice using a microphone processor. Now, you don't have to go crazy with different settings, but it is a really great way to give your voice a grander feel whilst removing any background noises.